one word. They need to be able to play aggressive. They need to be able to dictate the pace of the game. It is the LeBlanc ban here on blue side for T1. Not going to be willing to give that to Showmaker. And the question becomes, are there any adaptations from Damwon? Do you leave up one of the super OPs to try to trade for the Jhin? If you think they're going to go first pick Jhin, you could do something like leaving up TF and say, all right, you can only have one. You must choose here.
And I think the luxury that T1 have bought themselves by winning 2 in a row, by being the team to make it a match point first, is side selection in the final game. Blue side, which has been so strong, which has allowed for so many incredibly powerful first picks and counter picks that have been not super relevant in the context of this series. Something we have to keep our eye on, and you can tell every team knows that every single ban matters at this point of the game. They are taking their time with each and every one of their options.
Smart adaptation here from T1. Last time they were on blue side, they banned TF. Now Damwon have 3 bans. TF, Yuumi, and Aphelios. One of these 3 champions will go through to T1 now that they haven't banned the TF away themselves. So there's going to be one of those champions. Do Damwon want to find some kind of trade-off by not banning one and picking the other?
Exactly. That's what you go for then in that situation. You just trade the OPs. But the question is, what OP do you leave up? Or are they not even willing to do so? This is going to be really interesting here. Aphelios is also available.
Yeah.
So there's Aphelios, there's Jhin, there's TF. They're going to ban TF, and they're going to say you can only have one. Do you go to the Aphelios that Gumayusi has been so incredible on? 15-2 on this pick this year.
Are they going to go for a Lucian pivot here?
Nami is up too. They could go Nami Lucian or even take it top, but it's the Aphelios, the legendary pick here for Gumayusi.
And this is everything in Game 5 on an 80 carry who is so young. You prioritize his first pick. You prioritize his comfort, the player who carried, the player whose jinx in the last series they played was massive in that Game 3. Now gets his hands on his most comfortable champion, on his best champion. This is Damwon Kia throwing down the gauntlet.
Man, this is what dreams are made of. Game 5 for Gumayusi. You know, this young player, this rookie player going up against Damwon. You're in Game 5 of the World Semifinals. You get your pick. You get your 15-2 Aphelios. Ball's in your court.
Comfort is indeed key in a game like this, but Damwon are no strangers to these kind of situations. They've been in 5-game series before, and they must have known going into this draft that Aphelios was going across to Gumayusi. They're going to match it with a Ziggs, and it looks like Kana fancies his hands at a Kennen. Syndra still up, Jungle's still up, and that's going to be a Kennen match into the graves.
And while Ziggs has not been a first priority ban, it was frequently banned in the second phase when they were trying to pinch the 88 carry pool. This champion has 2 faces. 1, you can leave him alone on the bot side, ignore him, and free up your support to roam. 2, you can draft something to make a kill lane, and you can look to get bloody on the bot side as fast as possible.
Also really enables a lot of side lane comps because you can actually play through mid, defend that tier 1 tower mid really, really effectively. It is going to be the Xin here, so now we have to see, do Damwon want to match picks here? Do they want to go towards a jungle here? Or are they going to go for a big mid lane pick here for a Showmaker? Mix things up.
They can pick anything, right? You can go Leona here and ban away things like the Thresh, like Rakan as well. Support can be picked. You can match jungle here and pick something like Trundle or Kiana into the Xin Zhao. Or you can just play it safe and pick Syndra and ban away too. All their options are in their hands, and we saw how effectively T1 used red side to win against the blue side with the last pick support. This time around, looks like Damwon's going to go for the Rakan, maybe ban away things like the Leona.
And while not picking jungle here might cost them in the second ban phase, I have to say, when Damwon have had proactive engage, when they had proactive engage in the last team, they look so much more confident, so much more dominant in the early game. Seeing Barrel back on this Rakan after a stellar Game 4 is a good look for Damwon.
And it's building the beginnings of a way to take down Gumayusi on this Aphelios. The Rakan goes in, the Graves ult over the top, the Ziggs ult over the top. If there is another dive buddy drafted here from Damwon, someone who can fly into that back line and really threaten him, you're going to have an overwhelming amount of damage there to really be able to punish. For Damwon, it's all about denying the support pairings here to keep this Aphelios safe, because they already have a lot of the tools they need to actually kill it off.
And at the end of the day, in this draft, respect to T1, they look at their rookie members and they say, we will give you your comfort picks. Faker and Keria will wait, they will take their time, they will suffer these additional bans. Limit that away, see how deep the pool goes. The support pool evolution in this series has been game defining. 2 more champions limited. Now, Rakan locked in. Damwon Kia won't have the luxury of a last counter pick. What does Keria have up his sleeve?
You expect some kind of engage spot with Kiana banned away. Are we going to get Canyon's Talon for Game 5. We indeed are. And what does that open up? That opens up last pick for Showmaker. Cassin and Ban coming in. Makes me wonder if T1 want to blind pick some kind of control mage.
And this just makes a lot of sense. You know, I talked about the beginnings of the composition to be able to set up this sort of dive composition, and that is what you need to really slam it home. The talent as well to pair up with that Rakan. It's going to be a blind Azir here for T1, and we have to find out what is the support pairing, because a lot of these common ones are already taken off the table here to keep Gumayusi's Aphelios safe.
Yeah, expecting some kind of engage, some kind of follow-up. We talked about Carius' Sylas, but I don't think it's going to come out. Showmaker has Syndra available, he has Orianna available, he has Control Mages available, but it's just going to be the blind pick, the Zillion pick into a blind composition of Damwon where they can pick some kind of DPS mage in mid now instead of some kind of burst mage.
Exactly. It was really interesting. When Damwon was hovering the Azir, I was saying, well, that would be a really good answer. So they've kind of taken away this high DPS champion from Damwon and then picked the Zillion because it's about the burst. The Zillion can be pretty effective into the Zoe, but he has been lights out on this champion all year long.
Both these teams know each other so damn well. Ghost was hovering Azir to taunt Faker. Carrier was hovering Zoe to taunt Showmaker. I think both of them knew exactly how this draft would pan out from the first 3 picks. And man, these compositions are spicy. Huge team fight for T1. Huge scaling for T1 on the opposite side of Damwon. Really big pick potential, really good single target damage, and a lot of range.
The range, that is such an X factor because while the scaling is there for T1, Ziggs, Zoe, you have to be able to close the gap. You have to be able to actually get in on them. And their engage tools are very limited. As T1, you're basically relying on a flank. You're relying on speeding someone up as a Zillion, sending them in. Damwon on the other side has go buttons. They have the Rakan. The Rakan flies in with the Talon. Graves ult over the top. The Ziggs ult over the top. They can fish for picks with the Zoe as well if they control vision. So it is Damwon with the more proactive comp. And if the series has been assigned so far, it's the teams that have the ability to play proactive that have been winning.
Now it all comes down to this, an entire year of hard work for both of these organizations. T1 finding their 5-man as we entered Worlds, now find themselves in a Game 5 versus Damwon Kia, looking like one of the strongest, if not the strongest team in the world. But only one of these teams can advance to the World Finals.
And for one man on that stage, Faker, it has been much more than one long year. He has been trying to get back to the World Finals for 4 straight years, has been trying to win for 5 years. This is a man who's synonymous with dominance in League of Legends, and he's one step away.
The stakes could not be higher. This is the beginning of the end for Khan's last dance, or Faker with 5 years of an empty international trophy cabinet.
Pressure builds. Quick flash to what's on the line. Of course, for now, it is a finals appearance. Can't get too far ahead of themselves. The hard work does not stop here, even if you can find a win, but a loss will send you home empty-handed. For Khan, as you highlighted, the loss will send him away from the world of League of Legends. Everything here, and you can see no more aggressive 5-mans on the top side. Nobody wants to risk it all on a 5v5 at level 1. Both teams just laying down what vision they can, setting up lines of skirmish, and giving respect to the opposite side.
And this is where it's about who's going to step up in that final game. Will the rookies rise to the occasion here or crumble against the overwhelming amount of experience their opponents have?
Yeah, this is the 3rd time Damwon are in an international 5-game series. Against Mad Lions, they triumphed. Against RNG, they fell. And now against T1, they're currently 1-1 with international best-of-5s at 5 games. T1, no strangers to them as well, Faker especially.
And Faker and Showmaker, naturally, the matchup we'll keep our eyes on, as even in the level 1, they're already trading blows. But Showmaker, doing what he can to come out on top as both sides pop the Corrupting Potion. I do want to cast our eyes down to the bottom side of the map. Last time we saw the Zillion, we talked about the greed. It can fall behind early. It can be picked apart, and it was not picked apart by Damwon Kia. But this time around, it's a different matchup. And in this matchup, we don't even need to talk about bot lane anymore. I take it back. They're just going to fight in mid lane 24/7.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where it's blood in the water in mid lane. That draws junglers. If they are trading this aggressively, both of these guys have already used 2 Corrupting Potion charges, 20 seconds into laning, and Faker's still low, having done so.
Yeah, Damwon leashed on the bot side of the map. Owner solo started, both junglers pathing top side. Ghost has TP, so 3 teleports on the side of Damwon. Gumayusi running the heal for more combat summoners, expecting T1 to have the bot push. Mid and top will be contested.
Absolutely, and T1 trying to play aggressively through that, utilize that range advantage with the green gun here on the Aphelios, get the push, and try to harass this Ziggs down, try to punish that champion here at level 1.
Yeah, early game's so important with priorities. We saw Owner getting double crab on the Jarvan prior, and it looks like T1's bot lane have so much push in this lane, poking out Damon's bot lane. Faker going aggressive onto Showmaker.
All that's left is biscuits for both mid laners. High stakes trading here in the early game. Neither jungle in the area, so they both continue to do so, but Showmaker taking the bad end of a lot of these trades. Pop the biscuit just to gain a little bit of health. He does get pushed in anymore, but high stakes across every lane. Good news for the side of T1, that early lane phase is paying off. They get level 2 first in the Zillion lane. They're able to keep up that pressure early on, and Aphelios' first guns are just so solid for early laning.
And it feels so critical for Faker to have a good start coming off of that last game. Showmaker absolutely running over T1 with the LeBlanc, and it's been a back and forth battle between these two. Whoever gets the edge here in Game 5 could be the critical member.
And Kana on Kennen, his most played throughout the entire year. We talked about comfort for Gumayushi. Faker will get cancelled there by Canyon. This is comfort for Kana. He can't afford to have a game like Game 3, where yes, T1 won, but his impact was very, very little until the final fight. He needs to make sure he's on point in this 5-game series.
Pressure to do so, and now supported by Owners. He moves into the top side. Khan locked up, Khan stunned, red buff ticking. First blood again to T1 in 4 out of 5 games.
Khan first blooded in what could be his final game here potentially at Worlds. That's gotta get the nerves going. We'll see if they can make a play here on the other side, but it's the TP down, it's the flash down, and Owner did not have to expend his.
Yeah, and it's a cannon wave as well, so it looks like Kana can save his TP as well if he wants to. He could run back to that lane pretty happily with his E. Save TP for bot lane. T1's bot lane have so much push and can start forcing Ghost and Barrel back to unlock Keria on the Zillion to move towards topside first, and now you have a TP advantage on top of that to keep them safe. And if Damon want to push out bot, 1 TP ward behind, that could be a double kill if Kana's level 6. So this early game so good for T1.
Certainly is, and of course for the bottom side, they've opted for the TP for Ghost, and while that can be helpful in skirmishes across the map, it means they don't have an Ignite to pair in this lane. Very low kill pressure onto the Aphelios and the Zillion here. It'll be difficult for them to find anything without more jungle support. You can see Showmaker poking his head around on the bottom side of the map, giving us a little thumbs up. So they do have solid vision control there to try to mitigate any potential bottom side plays, but for now, T1 400 gold lead sitting pretty comfortably in this early game.
Yeah, Dunwon doing a good job though tracking Canyon. They spotted him down on the Krugs. Then they put a ward on Raptors. They have multiple wards, 3 in fact, across that bottom side river. They've got a pink on top side trying to keep Khan safe. So they are trying to play with respect to Owner, who got that first blood and is going to have a strong early game.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Damwon in their wins is just they unlock the game through mid. They have so much agency with their mid jungle to push Faker back and keep him under his tower, but for now it feels like they aren't able to force anything out of Faker. They don't have great setup to do so. And once he hits level 6, he should be able to negate ganks pretty easily. Has TP up, will probably use that to get back to the lane, and will scale very, very strong the longer this game goes on.
Exactly, you know, it's all about the setup, as you said. You know, in those previous games, it was about landing a scatter, in comes Canyon, landing a chain, in comes Canyon. And this time around, they don't have that easy setup, and it's Owner circumventing that river ward here, looking for a potential lane gank. How close to 6 is Kana?
Ticking, eyes on the experience bar. Lands the mark, that's 2. Would want 3 for the stun, and already you can see Owner's recall. Looks like that will not be their opportunity, but Khan sweating just a little bit, not entirely certain where the enemy jungler is.
Yeah, Canyon only has a small camp advantage right now. Has base and will come out onto the map. Beryl notoriously runs mid on the first base from bot. He knows Ghost has TP and he can catch a wave for free. So Keria showing in bot here gives Damwon some kind of window in the mid top side right now. With Beryl being around, he can find some kind of engage and help Damwon unlock this top side of the map, which is struggling, especially in top lane as Owner finds Canyon.
And in the area, knowing Showmaker's right behind him, has the heal as well, but the bubble will not connect. Owner forced to flash out early.
Yeah, good flash. If the slow connects, Showmaker can flash over the wall and chase him down, pick up his flash, and then flash again. So he knows he needs to flash before any kind of slow or CC comes through.
Especially because they know Beryl is missing and Keria was not in position to actually match the roam. So you have to play with respect to the fact that you would be in a 2v3 situation if you do get caught there. And Damwon, as a result, will take that topside scuttle. They have a little bit of tempo here on the map now, and Owner is going to be pushed back into kind of this defensive posture.
Faker still yet to base, expecting him to TP back towards the mid lane. Ghost saved his TP in case anything kicks off topside. And the difference we saw from all the 4 games and this one now is Ghost has TP. Normally we saw 4v4s up towards the Herald, but Ghost saving it means if Damwon are the ones first to pull the trigger and go towards the top side, Ghost will be able to match a 5v4 numbers advantage.
And on the other side of the table, it's Kana who actually saved his TP. Khan had to TP back. Kana did not invest his. So if T1 play towards bot side, they're the ones with the man advantage. Whereas if Damwon can play towards top side, they will have the extra man.
And cross-mapping is what we've been seeing all series long.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing to keep your eye on as well is that the Zillion has made it through this lane phase relatively unscathed. There has not been room to put a lot of jungle attention down here, and that just means that Damwon Kia, again, are going to have to solve the puzzle of the Zillion, something they struggled with very heavily the last time we saw it come out.
They absolutely did, but I will say they're less all in on one little point of damage. You know, against the Zoe, yes, the sleep can one-shot you, but Zoe doesn't have to commit in the same way that a Syndra has to spend the ultimate and really commit to that. You know, Ziggs, I don't think it's as much of a commitment as that of the MF and the Jarvan, where they're just dropping all these ultimates to get a kill. So I think that the Zillion is still going to scale incredibly well, still going to be a big threat, but Damwon have better ways, I feel, to deal with it in this game than they did in the previous.
Yeah, a lot more kind of zone control. They can use the Zoe to kind of pop it before actually engaging or using any big cooldowns like the Unleashed power from Syndra. But here it is. T1 moving towards the top side to contest the Herald. Ghost has TP who just based, so he can match. It's going to be a 5v5 for this Herald. This could be game deciding if one team decides to pull the trigger and commit to a full engage. Kana is split and doesn't have flash for 10 seconds.
Yushi, Master of Aphelios, perfect guns for a fight like this. Red and White Canyon leaping over the wall, but has been stunned, has been locked up. It looks like Herald will just drop in favor of T1. Damwon Kia, do they want to keep this fight going? That's going to be a sleepy Xin. Debating, non-committal CC, they don't have to overextend for anything. Keria with level 6 though makes this so hard for them to keep going. For now, T1 just taking the Herald and walking away unscathed.
Yeah, Beryl, if he full commits there, what's the follow-up? Maybe a Ziggs ult could come in, but then Kana's positioning is great and Canyon was a little bit zoned away as the fight started. T1 get the Herald and they get out.
And you have to remember, Faker was on the side there. So if all 5 members of Damwon are piling in towards this slept target, Faker is going to sweep in behind you on the Azir. So good positioning there from T1. Kana in some trouble. In the area, Barrow leaping through. That's going to be the knockup flashing forward, getting the ult down. But Kana exhausted, will get dropped. Canyon takes the kill. And it doesn't feel like that was the flash to go for from Kana. Expending that is a pretty big tool to use. The exhaust easily shuts it down from Barrel. They are able to get the kill. And now Kana is going to be set pretty far back on this top side, not going to have much pressure on the Graves whatsoever for the next couple minutes.
And giving a kill over to Canyon, who now has the Yomos. He's unlocked on the map. What a powerhouse jungler he has been the last 2 years. I think undisputedly the best jungler in the world for the last 2 years, playing Talon, an assassin jungler that can find his way into fights and solo carry them if he can find the picks. The only trouble is he's up against the Zillion. Keria's Zillion, which was phenomenal in T1's victory in the previous games. And now they're sieging onto this bot tower. Owner has Herald, Faker has TP. Gumayushi able to steal away a plate there. Power the chakra when you're so close, your attack speed is so high, he just shreds through it. But Damwon Kia arrive in time to make sure they don't lose anything else. That said, Owner here available on the bottom side, but Beryl and Canyon are a menacing duo. If Owner overstays or overextends. With Zillion in the area, the Owner doesn't have to be too scared. Yeah, and T1 are down to scrap because Faker actually based. He TP'd back towards mid lane on the wave. Did not want to allow Showmaker to have free push and then move into the river. So T1 do commit the teleport. They want to control river. They want to be able to get back down here and drop the Herald to really make good on their investment on top side. Yeah, it all started with drafted, isn't it? The second we saw the Aphelios locked in, the second we saw Keria Zillion, we knew exactly where T1 would be playing. And even better for them, they got themselves a Herald too. So now all this gold is going to go into Gumayushi's back pocket. He's been a bit quiet this series other than the Jhin game, who already had Zillion next to him. This time around, a lot more gold's funneled into him. And this is going to be his opportunity to really shine in this kind of high-pressure situation here. Stepping forward, trying to grab that last plate, not quite able to do it. It's just one auto, and not sure that you want to walk into the Rakan for that one. The debate, though, you have to respect it. And again, getting your comfort pick in a Game 5, so excellent to have. But then the expectations on you rise. Gumayushi needs to make it out of there. He's been sped up. Good slow from the Graviton to stop any potential follow-up from Beryl, but that's a sleep connecting. Rakan ready to kick the fight off. Carry has to debate where the ult's going to go. He has already used it on his carry, but he could still drop in the end. Double bomb, the knockback. Gumayushi now in trouble. The heal coming out. Tries to fire back with the ultimate, but it will not work. Ghost grabbing the kill. The satchel so nice there from Ghost. Immediate knockback on Gumayushi. As soon as the revive comes through, he cannot get back to the tower. Does go down. And while Faker is pushing mid, he's getting a farm advantage. He did take a plate. It does mean a big kill onto Gumayushi. Both summoners down, Zillion ult down, Zillion exhaust down, and Damwon get the Dragon to boot. Yeah, they're not playing through mid as much anymore now. They're just trying to match lanes and try to find picks. Showmaker with a massive bubble through the wall to make sure Gumayushi dies. He lost both summoners, but the trade-off is Faker gets some plates and is a little bit ahead in CS. If this bubble connects, Faker would be in trouble. Fighting out, that's the knockup, but Canyon's in the area. The knockback is there. Beryl now in trouble, but Faker's going to make it out to safety. Good damage trading back. Beryl flashing a little bit early, but it doesn't know where the Xin is, so doesn't want to risk it. Yeah, I think he was a bit scared there because the wall was pushing him up against the wall on the river too, so he had nowhere to go. Showmaker's going to push out the wave and look to base. We'll have to see now what the next step is here for T1. You know, really kind of just...
Another support flash. A lot of flashes down on the T1 side. It does feel like there's a good opportunity here for Damwon to try to punish over these next couple minutes with no flash on Keria, Gumayusi, or Faker, as well as Kana. Those are targets that you can really look to punish, as Canyon is having a great early game here.
Yeah, look at this again. We can see Damwon not even going mid. There's a mid wave, but Showmaker wants to force something in bot, whether it's a summon or an ult. They want to make sure Damwon's bot lane can contest the push. Look at that bubble. Even in a minion wave, manages to connect Beryl with the follow-up, and as you said, Azale, the satchel charge from Ghost to push Gumayusi back. If he instantly flashed right now, he would be fine, but he thought he could save it. In the end, ends up using it and dies anyway.
Miscalculates, doesn't account for the satchel there, and Khan now back to this top side. Since Kana has died, he's lost all pressure in this lane. Owner gonna go.
Going forward, Khan using the ultimate to give as far back as he can. Flash back on the safety. Flash forward should be an easy kill. Pick up. Owner can grab that one.
Yeah, quick and easy kill. Khan forced the flash. Owner trades it off. Really good win becomes lightning through the bush. And Owner in these early games has been fantastic for T1 at getting early kills. Yes, they got the Herald, and he has been dropping neutrals throughout the series. But when it comes to first bloods and forcing on lanes, he's finding his opportunities against the world champions.
And that's Khan just getting a little bit greedy for those plates. Wanted to try to pick up the additional plates. Didn't respect the fact that Owner could be up there, and two relatively early deaths, but it hasn't set Khan back much. Really, once you're on the shield bow in this matchup, if you don't just get devastated in the early game, it's so hard for the Kennen to really pressure you in the 1v1 whatsoever. You do need the additional man there to kind of get through the sustain and the tankiness that this Graves has.
This game is so even. 14 minutes in, Dragon spawning in 2 minutes 50 seconds. Herald will be up in around 30 seconds to a minute. Both teams want to look to contest that. Damwon, again, trying to play through mid, trying to find Faker. It's been that story for them the whole series long. And look at the plates that Damwon are accumulating on sides. There was 3 top, 3 bot, but look where Gumayusi is. He's running towards the top side. Canyon.
The wall goes invisible, but right into the hands of Owner, and Carry is going to leap over. Has the blast cone as well.
Faker.
Dash back out to safety. He's going to try to push him back. Canyon just going for some parkour, I guess. Not a lot to be gained there, but doesn't lose anything. In the meantime, Ghost manages to get a tower, so distraction.
Yeah, Faker couldn't actually find the angle. It looked like his soldiers stopped moving as soon as they hit the wall, so they didn't actually reach through into that corridor there to actually block Canyon. So he's able to get out, does put on some pressure. Bot lane tower gets executed by Ghost, and Damwon securing themselves a small lead, which could be equalized by this potential Herald here if Owner can get it and grab a tower of his own.
Yeah, definitely a really risky play there from Canyon, but having no ult means he's just going to run towards the bot side. Kana has no tower behind him, so if Canyon can wrap around here, he could look for him as T1 pressure this top side. They're leveraging Kana's TP here to make sure that they can get this objective, but look at Canyon.
It's going to be big. Engage on the bottom side. Canyon now stepping forward into Kana, not afraid, despite the 2-level discrepancy. Still willing to commit for that one, knowing he has Ghost behind him. Kana backing off, ultimate gone, so his TP pretty useless in the fights to come until that cooldown's back up.
Yeah, and flash gone as well, even more important when it comes to these next fights. T1 are going to get themselves the Herald, expecting it to go towards mid unless they just want to crack open this top tier one.
You got to give a lot of credit to Damwon for being able to actually put this pressure onto Kana to expend those resources. Flash, ulti, those are what makes this champion. And every time it's up, they seem to be able to find an angle to pressure him to be able to take away that tool. If you're T1 and you have those tools, you're probably thinking, yeah, we could actually fight this dragon as long as we have the setup. Without them, I don't think you even bother trying.
And it gets harder as we get later into the game because they do not have a traditional tank support. All they have is the Xin. It's hard for them to move into Fog of War and place vision. You are against a Zoe, a Talon, a Ziggs, a Bomb, a Talon, a Bubble can come from nowhere and take you out. It's very hard to regain control of a side of the map without pushing out your lanes first.
Absolutely. They also don't really have any hard engage, right? You're just hoping for some sort of a flanking play. You're hoping to be able to chase someone down, utilizing that zillion speed. But that gets so hard when you are playing from behind. If Damwon grab this Infernal at that third dragon, whoever has setup at the Drake is going to be so advantaged because T1 walking blind into this Damwon comp feels near impossible.
It definitely does. And it looks like Kana's just going to catch the bot wave. 4-man grouped up for T1. Similar to every single game, mid-wave contest, 15 seconds on the Dragon. T1 have 2 options. Just push this mid-wave and go top and trade gold for the Dragon and fight the third. Or push this mid-wave, herald it, and brute force their way into this bot side river. Kana's pushing bot, and he's moving towards T1. Damwon relying on poke to try to push T1 back.
And Kana's actually playing in the jungle. He was trying to hope that he could find Kana on that red buff, trying to path up there. And if he spotted them, he would be able to push him out, maybe even force that ultimate once more.
Bubble.
Now, Canyon off to the side, engaging on Kana. Another ultimate forced out. He will not find an opportunity to use it in a teamfight. In the meantime, the Herald has collapsed. He will not be able to break the tower. Canyon going to start soloing the Dragon here. It's a tense battle in the mid lane. No doubt if Damwon Kia fight into T1 that they will lose out, but Damwon Kia are not going to let that happen. Finding these pickoffs on ultimates and key cooldowns, now taking the second Dragon of the game.
Yeah, T1 are grouping up to try and force their way into River, but Showmaker and Canyon are picking them apart slowly and surely with their abilities to keep them pushed back. They're going to get the Dragon. They're on 2 Dragons now, pushing towards that Mountain Soul point, and T1 wasn't able to cross-map for anything. Faker might get this tower, but he might also be in trouble.
Yeah, they had a ping. He saw the sleep, so he should be able to get out of there, no problem. But I mean, it just showcased that mid lane skirmish showcases the strength of the composition that Dom1 had actually drafted for. They have so much range, they have so much poke, and critically, it's a non-committal damage that they are actually going for. Because Zilean really wants to play into champions that are hard committed to the play when they use their cooldowns, when they spend their damage. Zoe is not that, and neither is Ziggs, which makes T1's job so important, playing around vision.
Khan, relatively unafraid at this point. 2-level advantage over the Zint. Level 8 carry off to the side. He's going to be there for the utility. Owner, of course, with the smite will take the blue away, but Canyon doing some similar maneuvers on the top side of the map. Despite that, Faker's still sitting pretty comfortably in this lane phase. Showmaker running out of mana, but no bubbles connected yet, so Faker will be fine for now.
Yeah, the good news for T1 is all 3 outer towers are below 20% HP. You can see it on the minimap. They're all so low, and they should be standing gold for them. The problem is Canyon is absolutely everywhere. First, he's in bot, pushing Kana back. Now he's in top, making Faker scared. T1 just have to be very, very careful at face-checking bushes. But for now, it looks like they're going to group up and contest both side river.
It's been this battle for vision, just constantly. Barrel moving around, Canyon moving around. I wonder if we see him go towards something like the Umbral Glaive to play even more heavily for that vision control. Owner now just going to cover Kana, so they will be able to finally get a tower here. You have to think, collect some of that gold. And quietly, T1 is scaling, so that is kind of what you're relying on here on the T1 side, is yes, it's difficult to engage, but you have Azir, you have Aphelios, and the game state is relatively slow moving.
And Aphelios isn't going Dominus. He's not looking for a 3-item spike. He's looking to hit as hard as he possibly can. Guarantee he's maxing lethality second on the passive stats. Your abilities hit like a truck with this build at 2 items.
And it's a squishy, squishy team over on the other side. They don't have an overwhelming amount of physical damage, so tabbies weren't the name of the game here. It's actually Merc Treads for the solo laners from Dom1 because it's double AP solo laners for T1, which makes that lethality, that makes that collector that much more valuable.
Yeah, for now it's just still mid-wave contests and cross-map trades, as we saw, bot tower for top tower. Now T1 are probably going to focus up towards the top side, and maybe Dam1 want to match the play because there's nothing to trade off on the bot side of the map. So Barrel's going to base, move out towards the top side you expect, and try to place some vision down. Keria similarly doing the same. There's still a pink ward in T1's jungle that could really hurt them if Khan looks for a TP behind. Kana can match though, and still very, very even game. We saw the goal a couple seconds ago, and everyone's basically even.
A lot of pressure builds in these states. You have to imagine whatever team can break down this mid lane tower first will gain access to the jungle, will gain control a little bit more over the mid lane. Neither side budging quite yet, and Baron already up and available. Next Drake in 2 minutes. Teams have a bit of time to farm up and hit those next spikes, but every single bubble could be a death sentence. Every single wall could have a talent on the opposite side. T1 have to play carefully.
And T1 playing this really smart. Owner, he goes bot. He actually covers for Kana to push in to take that tower. Then he goes top. He's covering for Faker to try to push in and collect that tower. T1 are trying to knock down these tier 1s to complete their 2-item power spikes prior to the next dragon. And they're really committing heavily to doing this so they can be at maximum power. It just feels like we're building towards this potentially climactic fight at the 3rd dragon where everyone wants to be ready to go.
Yeah, and all 3 outers are going to fall. T1 are going to pick up that standing gold. And you're completely right. Azale, the next fights will blow the entire game open. But there is a world where Dam1 go for Dragon and T1 rush Nash. Azir, Aphelios, this is probably the fastest Nash combo you can get from your carries alone. So T1, if they keep vision towards the top side, they can keep threatening this with these 2 powerhouse late game champions.
But I think it's so difficult to pull off. If you just leave Canyon or Khan to solo the Dragon bot side, you have Zoe and Ziggs, and you're playing red side. You can poke over the wall into that Baron pit. I think it makes that kind of play really, really difficult for T1.
On top of that, RNG favoring Down1 Key a little bit. You got extra walls for the Talon, you got extra walls for the Zoe. That much easier to find these picks in the setup, and you can see the map is
Bias
dark.
Rift.
Just a little bit.
And that's the thing. Poke is going to be T1's biggest crutch in these fights, but grouping up and finding massive engages is going to be big for them. They can look to force Baron if they want. Owner can tank it up,
hunting.
and Kana can get into position. Owner!
Snowmaker, got a little bit. Good damage now coming in. Good ult from Keria. Just in the nick of time. The knockback there on the satchel again, though. Ghost making it work, but Owner still making it out to safety. Canyon wants to come over the wall, but will not overcommit for it.
Again, Dom1 just taxing resources prior, and they're coming for this fight.
Faker on the backside of this fight.
It's double TP, they're coming from both sides.
Come in, they're looking to pinch him, they're looking to lock him down. Gumayusi's gonna miss with the ult, that's gonna be big. Canyon off to the side, trying to lock up Kana, trying to get the ult before the fight kicks off. T1 will not find the fight that they're looking for. Damwon Kia retreating so well.
Yeah, double TP invested, and now Damwon are gonna chase him down. The Dragon's up, and just like you highlighted, they can't console it while Damwon force T1 back. They can't look to trade for Baron, and now T1 find themselves in an awkward situation where they have no TPs, they're losing the third Dragon. Maybe they can push something for down mid.
Khan soloing the objective. Kana off to the side, has the flash, has the ultimate up and available. Look to get things kicked off. Gumayusi very strong at this point in the game, but they cannot find the fight that they're looking for. They cannot threaten the Baron.
Damwon are just playing it out way too well. I mean, they're marking all the options here for T1. They force out the Xin ult, the Xin flash, Carrier's ult as well. They mark both sides on the T1 flank, but they're going in.
Going over the wall. Kana off to the backside. Kana instantly with the two-man ultimate ghost in no man's land, but Gumayusi has already taken down Barrel. The push back now onto Khan. T1, Barrel caught sleeping, and now all of T1 moved to the Baron.
They've got to go for Baron now. This is such a big window for them. 2 members down. Canyon is still alive though, and Faker push low.
Yeah, Canyon's up towards the top side though. He's right behind them. Softwatch comes out. The Zinning ult is used.
Communication. Canyon ready to come over the wall. It's going to tick away in just a second. Faker needs to make a way out. He has to flash out to safety. T1, they're not going to have an opportunity to take the Baron.
Showmaker's poke pushes him back. Canyon was in a perfect position to pick up multiple kills there. T1 had a small window to go for it, but Showmaker slams the door and does not allow T1 to go for the Baron.
It's a great play from Showmaker, but the miscommunication costly there for T1. Not communicating on who's going to use what first. Zillion ult comes through, the Zonius is used, and then Damwon are just waiting it out, so Faker's even forced to flash out as a result. But here it is one more time in the Axe Effect replay.
Kana's positioning almost won T1 the entire series. He managed to get onto 3 people, force out summoners, and instantly popped Barrel. And from there, T1 was able to dissect the rest of the fight. TP coming in from Khan, gets shut down. Flash was used as well, but it's Showmaker's poke that makes sure Faker can't get to that Baron pit.
Yeah, and in that live, we saw Kana actually forced out there, almost went down to Canyon, but the sleep landing, and again, it's just playing red side of the map when you have poke, makes it so hard for a blue side team to actually play towards Baron.
Especially with the mountain map, as Dracos was talking about, 3 minutes on the Dragon. T1 have 3 minutes to control the top side, 3 minutes to push down one back or look for a Baron start, control the bot side river, and look for Showmaker, who has no flash.
I mean, if T1 are not first to the Dragon for this climactic fight for Soul Point, they just can't enter. They have to be there first. They have to be controlling vision and fighting as Damwon try to poke in, much like this. Because if you show up second, you will always get poked out. You will always have your cooldowns really taxed by Damwon.
But right now, mid lane tower has not broken yet. T1 holding onto that one strong. It is so much easier for T1 to push into Damwon Kia territory. And yes, they are taking a risk with every bubble that comes out of Showmaker. But for now, T1 holding strong, holding their ground next to this objective, daring Damwon Kia to walk into them, to walk into Fog of War and try and contest this.
These next few minutes might decide who goes to the World Finals. T1 currently have control. Kana has no flash though. Faker trying to force Barrel out of his own jungle. Poke coming in from Showmaker to try and find some vision. T1 contesting midway. Still 2 minutes on the Dragon.
2 teams chasing history here, and Faker looking like he wants to go in!
But the shuffle will go wide. Instantly, the Ziggs ult to punish. He goes golden this time. The bubble, no. Zoe coming in, not quite hitting the timing appropriately. The bubble now coming out onto Faker, but this time the timing is clutch from the Zillion. They will at least get that ultimate. But Kana waiting in the wings, waiting in the darkness. Talon on the flank, Kennen on the flank. Who can find the angle? 1 minute and 46 seconds to the Dragon. No major objectives on the map, but maybe Damwon Kia can break open the mid lane.
Yeah, Damwon have a window now. Khan had no flash. Faker was looking for him, but he has to base now. He hasn't got TP for around 30 seconds, so Damwon will get the mid push, and they can control either side of the river that they choose. It's probably going to be bot side because 1 minute 30 seconds and set up just like you were talking about, Azael, with Zoe means T1 are going to have a very tough time face checking, but Damwon have a lot of tempo and a lot of time to play with now.
And you can feel the pressure they're mounting onto T1 as they look for this engage here. But yes, even though you're sped up by the Azir ultimate is not the strongest engage tool.
Azael, Faker's hungry. It's been 5 years. It's been 4 years since a final and 5 years since a title. He's hungry. He thought he found the pick there, but it almost backfired. And now T1 slowly re-establishing map control as they come out of base.
1 minute till Mountain Soul. Only for Damwon Kia. T1 need to take this away. They need to deny this. The extra stats would be massive in the coming fights, but T1, when they have the setup first, have such an incredibly powerful composition.
And T1 do have the setup in the river first. The question is, can they answer these pushing waves? Oh, you're going to be poked out. And that's shield bow down. That's actually a big deal. He can heal back up off of this wave. But again, every time prior, they're forcing these resources out of T1 with the poke.
Yeah, one bubble could be the end of T1. They have no way out of it. They have no Mikhails, no QSSs, no cleanses. So one bubble hits and Showmaker finds a target. They're all but dead. Gumayusi needs to lifesteal up on the next wave. There's still 20 seconds left. Owner just gets poked and poked out further and further. He needs to lifesteal as well with his passive. We'll see if T1 can sustain through Showmaker's relentless assault.
Turret set up in the mid lane. T1 can just march down mid, but Damwon Kia on the flank. Not to be underestimated. Trying to force them to fight into them. Khan, if he can use the Kennen ult defensively, it will be so incredibly oppressive. But Damwon Kia don't have to commit to anything yet. They have the Scuttle Crab, they have the vision.
This is it. The Baron start. Kana has a fantastic position. He's gonna get spotted though. T1 are all in the pit.
Lower and lower, 6K. Will they commit for this one? Gumayusi is healed up entirely. Showmaker off to the side. The bubble will not connect. T1 now retreating. Baron healing back up. T1 not able to find that one, but the mountain has respawned. Teleport on Faker, teleport on Kana. They can come back if they need to. Damwon Kia marching down to the mountain soul.
Canyon, the patience coming in. Faker's TPing back. They know they're going towards Dragon. They have to force it, but Faker's a little bit split. Owner's gonna find Canyon!
Canyon off to the side. One-shots him! Keria cannot push the ultimate fast enough. That's massive. The jungler now Don Canyon trying to parkour his way out to safety. He's been locked up. Maybe they can take down the jungler. In the meanwhile, Damwon Kia are just pushing in the mid lane. They can turn. They can set their sights instead on the soul if they want to. They have everything in their court. It will just be a 1-for-1 at the end of the day for T1. But Canyon buying so much time.
With neither jungler available here, are T1 just willing to flip the Baron? There's assist pings onto it. They know they're about to lose soul here. They lost control of the mid lane. But they don't have anyone to tank up the Baron. I don't think they can get anything. And despite the traded kills, Damwon get the soul.
Are they starting it? Keria and Gumayusi are hovering around this Baron pit for so long. They have the red and white guns. T1, there's no junglers. This could be a flip of a coin. Everyone's hearts are going to stop when this Baron gets low. T1 need to make a decision soon. Faker has the ultimate to turn.
Bubble. Connect to the Gumayusi. Keria in the area. He has the ultimate. He's going to use it. The resurrection now coming out. Barrel not going to follow up any further. Key cooldown's gone. T1 have to be careful until those are back up and available, but both teams keep anteing up. Both teams keep raising the stakes.
Damwon are just relentless here, and you have to feel that they are closing in on this finals. Showmaker and Ghost relentless with the poke. Every time T1 tries to get the setup around the Dragons, they deny it with poke, with skill shots landing, pushing T1 back time and time again. And Canyon with the positioning here, making Owner pay for the face check.
Yeah, phenomenal patience from Canyon there, waiting for his moment to strike, and he's just buying so much time for the rest of Damwon. Look at them on the minimap, pushing in mid, getting mid tier 1, getting Dragon, forcing these waves into T1, so their tempo is just falling slower and slower through their hands. T1, I think they're starting up a Baron. They're just going to force it. Damwon have to match the play. Ghost has ultimate soon, and Showmaker's in position to poke. They're going all in for this.
Such a fast play. Kana has TP available. Graves already TPing first. Kana's going to be a little bit late. Canyon off to the side. He's going to leap over the wall, but he has no access to the pit. Canyon's been zoned away. The Baron, it should drop in favor of T1. T1 will secure it. Damwon Kia, can they follow a Barrel off to the side? Xin Zhao completely isolated. T1 not looking for a fight. T1 looking to walk away, but Canyon is on the flank. Showmaker is on the flank. Barrel is coming in, and the Zigzalt is doing big damage. T1, it is fight or die in the final moments, and Showmaker finds Keria. Faker getting burned down, but Kana, can he turn it back? Kana, can he make it happen? It is not enough. Damwon Kia will not be stopped.
That might be it. They have a top wave. 45 seconds on Faker. This could be the winning team fight that pushes Damwon into the finals and shuts Faker down.
In the make or break moment, Damwon come up massive, acing T1 at the Baron, and they're on the march.
Owner's up in 10 seconds. They're pushing in for the tier 3. Keiria's up in 13. They have a little bit of wave clear, but the carries of T1, there's 20 seconds left. I think Damwon might have it. They might have the game.
They've got the wave. They're pushing in. And here it goes. Damwon Kia looking to break the base. Owner doing what he can to hold on, but he's going to be put to sleep. He's going to be knocked out. He goes gold, and Keria buying as much base as humanly possible, but the wave is slowly but surely being deleted. Damwon Kia moving in. They are unrelenting in the pressure they put on T1. Gumayusi wants to turn it. It's a big ult. He's going to shut down one. He's going to hold the line for now. T1 will live for another fight.
And you can see the sigh of relief on Keria's face as Gumayusi and Faker spawn just in time to save the day. Damwon didn't have a wave to play with, but they got one Nexus Tower. That's one massive hint in the armor of T1, and there's only one strike left before they fall, you have to imagine.
What a tense moment here, and T1 just haven't been able to find any purchase in this game whatsoever. So when they zone out Canyon there, they hard commit to the Baron, and they do get it. But with the sleep onto Owner, it's a one-way trip for him. He's never going to get out. And then Damwon, such a good job corralling T1 from multiple angles. The Ziggs all coming through and softening them up. And then in goes Showmaker.
Yeah, huge props again to Ghost and Showmaker, keeping T1 there. They knew they wanted to recall, so they just threw abilities into the unknown, and they hit Faker of all people, canceled his recall. Showmaker takes down Keria, and they were so close to ending the game, and you can see what it means to the Damwon coaching staff.
Smiles on the face of the Damwon coaching staff, smiles on the face of Coma. It might mean him taking down his old comrades, his own team, his old organization in T1, but he will do what it takes to make it to this final.
And it's so tough now for T1. You have these players who have the ability to carry a fight. You've got the level 16 Aphelios, you've got the level 16 Azir, but Damwon will not give you that fight. They have been surgical through this game 5, not stepping a foot wrong. It feels like the whole time, never giving T1 that opportunity to really unleash with these scaling carries.
Yeah, and there's 1 minute 50 seconds until that Elder Dragon. If you give that to a Zoe or a Ziggs, you're dead in one skill hitting. Gumayusi has 3 items completed, building towards that BT, you imagine, or maybe a Guardian Angel of sorts to try and survive through the burst. It's all in Gumayusi's hands. Yes, you're down 3k gold, but you can still fight back versus this Mountain Soul. It's not fight dependent, it's not fight deciding. With a Zillion by your side, with Faker free hitting, T1 can still win the fights if the Kennen can find a miraculous engage. They're still in this. They're down in gold. The problem they have is control has slipped out of their hands, and Damwon own the bot side river.
And if you pull up the minimap, you can actually look at all of the vision down there that Damwon does have. You know, just looking across that bottom side, they have an enormous amount of wards. Khan pushing forward. They're choking T1 out of this game. T1 needs to find some sort of a flank, needs to find some sort of a multi-angle fight, but Damwon are closing the door on every single possibility.
And T1's composition does not have the tools to reliably face check. It is high risk to walk into any bush, to walk into any part of the jungle that you do not know already is safe. We saw it in the previous play when Canyon was able to find that isolated pick on Owner. You see it in Showmaker in the cleanup plays when T1 try to run and are routed. Khan on the flank, Canyon on the flank.
T1 have to group up, they have to be a team, they have to stay as a death ball, and they have to get Gumayusi and Faker of range to do damage. Showmaker will be the one to stop them from doing that. It's all about mid-wave contest. 30 seconds on the Dragon. Look at Canyon's positioning. He's waiting for his prey.
Arrow leaping in, leaping out, playing on the edge there. Gumayusi always confident to step forward. On his comfort pick in a game 5, it was the first priority. Will it be enough to bring it home? Canyon off to the side, leaping in. Faker unafraid. As Canyon's forced to retreat. They've spotted the flank out from the town. That's big in the fight to come.
There's so much pressure on T1 here. Every skill shot is a question, and they must have the answer. Because if those sleeps land, if these bits of poke land from the Ziggs, that can be the end of your world championship.
Look at top wave. Faker has to clear it out. If he shows there, Damwon might just burst down the Dragon because they know they can TP in. If Faker TPs towards the Dragon Pit, there's a backdoor available unless Faker can clear out this wave. Damwon starting it up. Gumayusi is alone here, but he has to find his way into this fight.
The slow take on the Elder Dragon. T1 have time to work with, but again, a single decision, a single mistake will cost them the game, will cost them their shot at the World Final.
50-50.
TP now coming in. Everything being bet on this smite. Faker goes to sleep. Kana now stepping forward. 3k getting lower. Kana going all the way trying to lock up the thing, but who's going to get it? No! In the end, it is Canyon. When it matters most, he will find the smite. But Gumayusi standing strong on the backside. It does not matter. In the face of the Elder, Damwon Kia will wipe T1 off the map.
They're going to TP top as well. They have the Elder Dragon. They have a wave. They have everything they need to go to the World Finals.
And damn old legends and old legacies. Goodbye, Faker. Goodbye, T1. Hello, Damwon and Showmaker. They will defend their title in the finals and look to go back to back.
For every question T1 posed, Damwon had an answer. Game 5 was incredible from them. Never allowing the Aphelios, the Azir, to take effect, never allowing them to find that fight. T1 forced into a no-win situation where they have to hard engage, but they don't have the tools to do it. The new era of the LCK has well and truly arrived, as it is Damwon standing above the rest once more.
T1 fall again in the semis, as they did in 2019. It's gonna have to be 6 years before Faker can try again to get a world title, but they put up a hell of a fight.
And while T1 grew immensely, at the end of the day, it was not enough to stop Damwon from making their way to the finals. And while Faker will have another dance, again, this was Khan's last. This is Khan's last. He will move to the final. One last shot at a trophy that he has waited his entire career to lift.
It's such an interesting series here. Back and forth games. The drafts were so impactful across the entire series here. And I do think Damwon did such a good job in crafting their composition about what T1 had to offer. They deny so many hard engage tools, so many comfort tools that T1 normally would have looked for. And it almost felt like they had baited them into taking the Aphelios, baited them into taking this Zillion, when it's a situation where it's non-committal damage from Damwon and it's not going to get a lot of value. Damwon just playing it out so intelligently, and Showmaker, you gotta love him. This guy is incredible, has the personality, and he is truly a superstar in League of Legends today.
Yeah, you saw Khan screaming their revelation. The emotions are so high after taking down T1, the team he was playing for in 2019, the team he lost in semifinals with. He's the one that knocks them out.
And you have to feel like there is no better way to pass the torch for Korean League of Legends than to have the best team of all time now be surpassed by the current giants of the LCK, a team looking to win their second trophy back-to-back, a nigh unattainable feat in the world of League of Legends.
Damwon has been on this victory march, it feels like. They have been out for blood, playing incredible through groups and quarters, undefeated. T1 pushed them to the brink here today. Not only the first one to take a game, the first to take two, really did make them work for it.
And I think T1, with all these 18-year-olds, this rookie roster, will come back stronger next year. Look at Damwon in 2019 getting knocked out by G2. They come back the next year after having experience, and they are a well-oiled machine. I think we might see a very similar story with this T1 roster next year.
It was so interesting, and I just feel like so much of the series came down to which was the team that had agency in the draft, which was the team that had the go buttons, had the ability to dictate the pace of the game. And it was back and forth who was able to create these advantages. But Damwon in that final game, just such an intelligent comp.
Absolutely. And again, I think so much pressure on T1 that a single mistake could cost them at any moment. That the talent could come out of the darkness, the Zoe out of the darkness, so much non-committal CC as was highlighted. This was one of the hardest comps imaginable to play against in such a tense situation with so many young players where any decision at all can cost you the entire game.
And just such an incredible series from Showmaker, from Canyon. And you can see Ghost, he's so happy to have won this game. I think he had a great series too, you know, the rise of Ghost once again. After MSI, after struggling alongside Beryl, taking a break and coming back. Khan's last dance, it's all coming together for Damwon. Now they're in the World Finals.
And Ghost fought to find that form. I often take for granted that Damwon Kia are just the best in so many of their individual positions, but Ghost is the guy who did step away, who did struggle, who did come back stronger, who did show up in this series when it mattered on the Jhin, and I think you cannot give him enough credit for that.
I mean, the Jhin was incredible, but also the Ziggs. I mean, they make it look easy because they play with